Well, the console crippling CMOS battery inside of the PlayStation 3 and 4, that's inside the PS5 as well. Xbox doesn't even have a CMOS battery in the Series S or X, but they're not safe either with their initial startup where you have to log into an Xbox account. Let's cover this bad boy. Alrighty guys, share my screen over here. I have an article pulled up. This will be sourced or cited down there in the description below. I made a video a couple of weeks ago about the CMOS battery issue inside of the PlayStation 3 and 4, particularly the PS4, as that renders your digital and physical games completely unplayable, meaning that console is, in essence, bricked. You can navigate the menu with it. You can't watch any disc movies on it. You can't really do anything. I'm going to try not to bore you guys too much with the old technical mumbo jumbo on it, but more or less what a CMOS battery does is inside of a lot of electronics devices, inside of the Sony consoles, and what it does is it handles timing and synchronization for things like trophies to make sure that people aren't cheesing the trophy system to say, hey, I got this PlayStation trophy before you, which I don't even know anybody that does that. Like, what kind of flexing, what kind of bragging rights of the bar is that to be like, well, I unlocked this trophy 2 weeks earlier than anybody else? I don't think anybody really cares. But it also handles things like proving to the PlayStation Store that you have purchased digital games so you can get access to them. So when it goes out, it's a big issue. Now, you can replace them. They're not terribly expensive, and it's not easy, but it's not terribly hard to replace them. However, if the servers ever go down, like, for example, what is about to happen next month with the PlayStation 3 servers, and your CMOS battery goes down, and you replace it, it has no server to resync with. So you're just SOL, saddled loser, or shit out of luck, however you want to say it. Somebody took their PS5 apart, which I'm certainly not doing that with mine. I don't even want to paint the side panels, and that's easy to do. But they took it apart, removed the CMOS battery to simulate that it had failed. And sure enough, there's no timing. Sure enough, no digital games work. They are currently doing more testing to see if that extends to physical games as well, like on the PS4, but that's not good. And we're going to talk about Xbox issues too, which they don't have a CMOS battery, but they do have a weird initial startup where you are required to log into an Xbox Live account to activate the console for the first time. A CMOS battery is a key component in certain hardware, specifically for things like time passing, synchronization. Their typical lifespan is anywhere between 5 to 10 years, or longer in certain circumstances, and some of these consoles are seeing the CMOS battery last longer than that, as the PS3 was dropped in 2006 and the PS4 in 2013. A lot of these aren't failing yet, but some are. PS3, 4, and reportedly the 5 as well. When a CMOS battery bites the dust, or in test cases is removed, all digital content is rendered inaccessible when offline. The CMOS battery is apparently required for the console to maintain information that verifies the user actually owns and can access digital files. Without the CMOS, users need to have a constant internet connection to verify the information and regain access to their libraries. It's not just being offline though. If your CMOS battery goes out, you can't play your digital games, even offline. Further, in the PlayStation 4's case, physical discs are also unusable without an internet connection. Again, it's not just with an internet connection. You can stay consistently linked to the internet. The CMOS battery is the component that handles this timing, the synchronization, thus proving to the PlayStation Network, to their servers, that you have purchased digital games, or that you own the right to the physical disc that's in your console. Sony has yet to offer up an official comment on the issue, to the dismay of PlayStation fans. Well, I can guarantee you, if Jim Ryan was the person to deliver a statement, this is the same guy that said during an unofficial interview when asked about backward compatibility and how Sony seems to not really care about game preservation or any of their previous consoles, he said, "Why would anybody want to play those old games? They look like crap. There's better stuff to play nowadays. Nobody should be playing those anymore." I don't think he understands that part of what built PlayStation's success from 1994 with the PlayStation 1 till about 5 months ago with the PlayStation 5 is its story-driven campaigns, its single-player exclusives. It gave super memorable experiences, and the people that enjoy those games enjoy visiting their old library of games that they have purchased in the past, spent money on, not to mention a lot of them, it's nostalgic, it's retro, it's part of their childhood, it brings them back, so to speak. Those games are still fun, the story's still great. Yeah, the graphics look like shit, that's not why we play them. And the fact that Microsoft gets this, and not only is preserving their old libraries, but boosting them up with higher frame rates, HDR, new trophy support, and a bigger library all the way back to their original console. And PlayStation, who should be more grateful and more on board this boat because a solid amount, probably the majority of the Sony fandom, of the fan base, comes from people who got into Sony because of the exclusive games, past and present. Little lesson for you there, Jim. Hey there guys, Jim Ryan here. So I noticed the CMOS battery in the PlayStation 5's kicking the dust, biting the dust after about 10 years. You gotta get the latest and greatest there, bud. The PlayStation 6 will put an extra 2 inches on your peen, boost your credit score 30 points, and get your wife to stop cheating on you. Might even bring your dog old Rover back from the grave. You know what I mean there, bud? Let that thing collect dust in the archives. Nobody cares about that old stuff. Alright, zooming out of Jim Ryan's brain and back to the world of reality that we all live in. The reason they haven't made a statement is probably because Jim Ryan and the boys don't expect you to own a PlayStation 5 for that long, just like they didn't expect people to still be holding on to PlayStation 3s and turning them on. There's people that own PS5s that still play their PS3s. A good reason is because of your lack of backward compatibility support, where you need the original glossy PlayStation 3 to play PS1 through 3 games, and then a PlayStation 5 to play 4 and 5. So with those two consoles, you have access to the whole PlayStation home console library. Xbox, just one console. $300 Series S will do them all. Now, granted, I'm not saying they have every single title from the last 4 generations, but they do have substantially more support. And I'm not an Xbox fanboy. I have both consoles. I love both consoles. I think because I am a Sony fan and I enjoy their consoles and I grew up with them, grew up with the PlayStation 1, I think it is painful for me to see their company getting kind of botched and butchered by Jim Ryan. I have to say, I think Phil Spencer is doing a far better job running his company. So the Xbox does not have a CMOS battery. I think they did have one in the 360, but the Xbox One does not have one, and the Xbox Series does not have one. But they do have a major flaw that could lead them to also be unplayable for digital games. And that would be the first time you log in or start up a new Xbox One or Xbox Series, you have to do an initial login where you have to be connected to the internet. On the PlayStation, you can forego connecting to the internet. You can just skip it and link up to the PSN later. Microsoft requires you to not only go online once, but have an active Xbox Live account. It doesn't have to be a gold account like a paid subscription. You do have to have a Xbox Live account, and you do have to log into that account to basically synchronize with their servers and to unlock or activate your new console. Which could be an issue if the servers ever do go cold or get turned off for Xbox One and down the future road, Xbox Series, and then you can't do that initial login when your old console, something breaks in it, and you take it to get repaired or repair it yourself, or you have to do a factory reset on it because it was just running really janky, and then you basically have to do that reinitialization where you log in to the server for the first time, and if there isn't servers to log into, then you can't activate the console. So it'd be even more useless than the PlayStation because you can't even navigate around the menus or anything because you can't get past the initial startup process. Now, granted, that is a lot less likely to happen because I am almost HIV positive that not Jim Ryan, Phil Spencer would be like, oh no, if that's an issue, we'll take care of it. Whenever the community approaches Microsoft with an issue, they are quick to respond and quick to actually fix the issue. I feel like PlayStation is becoming a lot like the Apple of the gaming world. The same company that takes plugs and ports away from their phones and charges you for accessories that should come in the box and doesn't like to play nice with others when it comes to cross compatibility and stuff. That's PlayStation. Oh boy. And I don't mean from a performance standpoint, Apple's better than Android or Microsoft's stronger than PlayStation or anything like that. I just mean their company architecture, their business model. Apple's a lot like PlayStation. So I don't really foresee that being an issue because Microsoft still has the Xbox 360 store, the Xbox Live 360 store, where you can still play multiplayer and buy games and DLC. PlayStation 3 is shutting down. I don't foresee them shutting down the servers for like the Xbox One anytime soon or anything like that. And I do feel like they would make it not mandatory to do that initial login. If they knew that it's bricking consoles, I feel like Phil Spencer, as long as he's still running the company, you know, down the future road, 10, 12 years from now, I don't feel like they would really let that fly, where their consoles are unusable because they something in them broke, a component, and people needed to do a hard reset, and they don't have a server to connect to. I don't see that being an issue. Just like the CMOS battery thing wouldn't really be an issue if servers weren't going offline, which they are. Like the PlayStation 3 server is literally going offline with the PSP and the PS Vita server, which is weird because there are still active game developers for the Vita that were making games and didn't find out from Sony, no heads up or anything, that there was not going to be a platform for them to be developing on until the public found out. And then they're like, oh, stop making that game. There's not going to be a store for you to sell it on. And unfortunately, some of these games were in development for like 2 years. The time, money, and resources that these poor people spent on a game that will never get played, that sucks. I'd be fucking livid, to be honest. Excuse my language. Alright guys, that is going to do it. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more people, which in turn helps me grow my little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover a lot of news in the gaming community and industry, as well as tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.